Mabuhay, this is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. My channel is about marriage to a woman from the Philippines. And I've been talking about some signs that you have a functional relationship, but it's a loveless relationship. This comes from Mark Travers wrote this for Forbes.com, and going through some of these and trying to let you see how you might think this is possible when you're looking for a relationship with a woman from another country, often an age gap, maybe a generation gap. And I did that myself back in 2015 and still happily married, going on 9.5 years. So I want to talk about avoiding addressing problems because things are fine. Things are fine. We're not going to talk about it. Please leave a comment here and subscribe to Love Beyond the Sea. I can see it being a situation where you've been waiting a long time to get married and you finally went and found a woman overseas, probably against a lot of advice from friends and family and criticism. And so you might not want to rock the boat because they might think that you made a wrong decision. So let's see what we should do about that. According to this article, in many emotionally distant relationships, there is a tendency to sidestep underlying issues, often because everything appears to be functioning well on the surface. This tendency usually arises from a desire to maintain harmony. Partners may feel that rocking the boat is unnecessary when there are no major conflicts. However, failing to address deeper concerns can gradually widen the gap between partners. Research has shown that suppressing emotional expression leads to poorer conversation quality and a reduced sense of connection. In a loving relationship, they continue, there is typically a willingness to confront challenges and engage in difficult conversations. Pardon me. Avoiding meaningful discussions to preserve a sense of superficial stability may signal that the relationship lacks the emotional foundation necessary for addressing and resolving potential issues constructively. So that's the end of the article. I can see this kind of not wanting to deal with stuff happening early on because, you just want to get off to a good start. You don't want to rock the boat. Maybe you feel like there's some red flags and you don't really want to talk about that. Maybe it's something about her past and you don't want to ask about her past. Maybe you've got some suspicions. Maybe you'd like to call out her being late for a lot of chats, video chats, or not wanting to go on video chat, or not going on many of them. But you really don't want to because you think we got a good relationship, and so you just don't want to unnecessarily cause trouble and end it. But like any relationship, you do need to be able to talk about these, difficult conversations. And I think for a Filipina, who they have the reputation of not being confrontational, not wanting to be confrontational, having a difficult conversation like this might not be very well received by her. She might just say, oh, you don't need to talk about it. Not important. Everything's fine. Even though everything may not be fine. Well, things are okay. Are they really? If there's something in your gut that maybe it isn't, you should talk about that. Maybe you don't trust her with some of the things she says. You have to talk about that. Now, if you're already married, of course, then it's probably should be easier to talk about difficult things in your relationship, whether that's, intimacy or the amount of time she spends with you versus the amount of time she spends with somebody else, friends. Maybe she's just working too much. But if there's something gnawing at you and you're telling your friends, family, it's okay. Everybody has their issues. Well, I would suggest, as always, talking about it. And if you're not sure how to bring it up, Try to find somebody you can talk to and trust, and let them know what the situation is, and the most tactful way to bring it up, because you really want a solution or an answer and you don't want to chase them away. This is probably the tough part of any relationship, is voicing your concerns and, not having them feel like, you're controlling them. They might say that, well, you're controlling me. Why are you bringing this up? Well, if it's important to you, Mr. Foreigner, I think you should bring it up in the right way and also the right time. In other words, don't bring up something that's crucial to you to talk about when she's busy. Don't bring that up when there are other things on her mind, because she's just going to ignore you in all likelihood. So if you can think of situations where a foreigner might be tempted to tell people, oh, everything's okay, but they aren't, leave a comment. I can see where a man might not feel loved, and he should ask her, I would feel more loved if you did this. And she should try to listen to him. If she's just not going to want to listen, then things are definitely not fine. You might not agree on everything, but I think that the communication lines have to be open, where the woman, the Filipina, feels like, I can bring this up to my husband or boyfriend without him, getting upset with me. And the foreigner thinking, I can bring this up to her. And even if she doesn't understand it, she's willing to try to understand my position. Because a lot of times I think we see these foreigner Filipino relationships on, YouTube or TikTok and of course, or Facebook, and everything is going to look glorious, like they're just fine. And that's the image that, of course, people are going to want to portray. I happen to know that in real life, any marriage, not just compounding it with the issues of a older foreigner marrying a younger woman, thousands of miles away, different culture, that's just going to make things a little more difficult. Maybe the language barrier makes it hard to communicate. So I want you here watching Love Beyond the Sea to really maybe take a step back and realize that it's hard work, and to try to prepare yourself for a relationship with a woman overseas. I expect mine to work out. I mean, if I'm doing something wrong, I'm going to want to try to fix it. And I've always gotten counsel from people in my life when I really needed it. I've always had them there, probably the last almost 40 years. And if I need something, I'm struggling with something, I want to get something off my chest, I want to find out what to do, especially if I feel like, well, we're okay, I guess. We got a functional relationship, but not a lot of love. No problem asking for some counsel, marital counseling. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong at all. So I'm going to have maybe one more part to this sort of issue where you have a functional marriage but no love, because I think that does happen in these type of relationships. So let me know what you think here on Love Beyond the Sea.